not meant to be there. Whoops, sorry. Oh dear, that's not meant to be. That's not meant for anybody watching this. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's not a cracking start, is it? Okay, let's move swiftly on, as they say. It's Feel Good Friday, everybody. How are you doing this morning? And I'd like to know, because this is the day of the week, of course. Sexta-feira, the only day we're sexting it, where we take our foot off the gas a little bit after a Thursday. Thursday was great. Yesterday, the webinar was fantastic. Gave us a chance to tell everybody what we're doing at Expats Portugal. It was a really lovely evening. So thank you to everybody who was there. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I did a lot of talking, telling people about the Expats Portugal plan, and Jerry with a catch up on where we've come from as Expats Portugal and what our plans are for the new year. Hulk Hogan in the house. Oh, I think that's a good thing, isn't it? And I feel good this Friday, sir. I don't doubt it, Dave. And you remind me that I've got a little job to do for you, haven't I? So I will be back in touch with you soon, Dave. How are you doing there? How's everything going? Rebel Mama's here. Victoria's here. And guess what? It is a growing old disgracefully Feel Good Friday, flavoured with Graywatch this morning. Coach Turner will be joining us after 9, as will Victoria and Rebel Mama, to talk about the progress. I think it's amazing progress that we've made growing old disgracefully and on the Graywatch program that we've been having a lot of fun with. Staying fit and well whilst I'm not in retirement or semi-retirement, but quite a few people in the community are just taking it a bit easier in life now and getting into what would we say, the second half, let's call it that, the second half of their lives, and wanting to take better care of themselves whilst having a blooming good time as well. It can be done, and Coach Turner will be here to tell us all about it after 9. Who else is here? We got Deagle, we got Owen, we got Thunder. See you later on, Thunder. Francis, of course. Lonnie's here. Lonnie, fingers crossed for you. May all the blessings of Sant'Antonio be upon you. And your wonderful head there. Midlife crisis. Prof. Eusebio is here. James, our guest from yesterday, is here. What a legend James is. And a lot of love for you for that video. Talking of videos on the YouTube channel, we just ticked over 9,000 subscribers yesterday. So thank you so much, everybody who is a YouTube subscriber. I think something magical happens when you get to 10,000. All organic, no bought subscribers or any of that malarkey here. Everything has been organic in our growth, our steady growth towards 10,000 people on the YouTube channel. We don't really do it for the numbers specifically, but it's lovely it's nice to get that little stroke as well. This day in Portuguese history, thank you very much, Prof. 1807, Napoleonic and Spanish forces under the command of Jean Andoche Junot invade Portugal. How very dare they? Napoleon was hostile towards Portugal because of its trade with Britain. The old enmity there. We need to know. That's a bit of a cliffhanger there, Prof. We need to know what happens after that. What happens next? It's a lovely freeze frame as Napoleon makes his way into Portugal, but we need to know what happens after that. Presumably, it ended well for Portugal. Today in Portuguese history, 1846, Banco de Portugal was founded by royal charter during the reign of Queen Maria II of Segunda of Portugal by a merger of the Banco de Lisboa e Companhia Confiança Nacional. So there you go, old banking history, 1846 there. Thank you so much, Prof. Love those. Where's Carl? Where's Carl gone? Who's the guy with the moustache? It's me, Dave. You remember me, don't you? And it's all for Movember, and it's confirmed. It's confirmed that we will be having a male mental health special next Thursday. Andy's very kindly given way. Portugalish Andy Gilchrist has given way, and he'll be here to talk about this subject, as will an illustrious panel, including James, Francis, Garvo, and Stephen Wells, who I think really inspired people with something he said on the Man Cave, which I've yet to see. Today in Portuguese History 3 coming up, taking us to 1905. So let's look at the weather, shall we? A little bit of a weather view and some news articles and bits and pieces for you, including some news about Thanksgiving suppers. For you American viewers here who are in Portugal already, or anyone else, of course. You don't have to be American to go to a Thanksgiving dinner, do you? But traditionally, of course, for the Americans, others may wish to try that this year. So let's have a look at this weather, shall we? And we'll go to other districts of Portugal this morning, as we've been doing, making our journey around Portugal this week. But let me just bring it onto the screen so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. In the capital this morning, where are we? There we go. In the capital, it's 12 degrees with a clear sky, rising to 20 today, a bit cloudy. The rain has been pushed back to the weekend, so it may rain tomorrow in the capital. 54 Fahrenheit, that is. Clear sky currently, rising to 68 Fahrenheit. And the weekend, let's have a look at the weekend weather, shall we? So we know what's going on. 64 and 64 Saturday and Sunday. Slight chance of rain by the look of it on, maybe it's turned into a good chance of rain in Lisbon. Tomorrow, Porto, 11 degrees at the moment, 18 the high today, sunny day in Porto, as promised. Coimbra, similarly sunny and 20. It's going to be a lovely day there, isn't it? 20 comfortable degrees and a sunny day in central Portugal, the soul of Portugal, I would say. Coimbra, the heart of Portugal, central there. 20 lovely degrees, 19 in, it's beating the south. Faro, 19 degrees and raining down there in the south. Is that true, Victoria? Can you see that out of your window yet? Rising to 19, low of 16. Now, what have we got here? We've got 15. I was out with the dogs this morning, went to the beach. I've got lovely photos to show you of the moon that was still hanging about this morning in the bay. Lovely photos. And thank you to Anna as well for sending a full moon a full moon photo from her full moon photo from the Algarve yesterday. Absolutely beautiful photograph. So it's a bit of an educational point then. We were showing you the districts yesterday. Here they are again. And we went, where did we go yesterday? We went to Beja, didn't we? And we also had a look at Leiria, because I think they were next on our weather list. So where are we going to go to next? Let's have a look. We did Aveiro, Beja, Braga, Castelo Branco this week. Évora. It was Évora and Leiria. Let's go to Santarém. Sometimes they say Santarém Dangadong for a holiday. Some people will understand that reference. Others will not know what on earth I'm talking about. But Santarém and Viseu today. So 19 degrees in Santarém. So you get, let's have a look on the screen. Is Santarém right in, well, just south of the middle there of Portugal, above Lisbon, and I think parts of the Ribatejo Valley, of course, in Santarém district, as is Tomar. Tomar is in Santarém, as I recall, and Viseu way up north, sandwiched between Aveiro and Guarda there. One of those districts that is it the only, I think it's the only one that isn't bordered by the sea or Spain. Yes, that's right. Viseu is completely landlocked and sandwiched in between Aveiro and Guarda, unless I'm incorrect on that. But I think that's right. I think I remember reading that long ago when I was doing research on such things. And look at that down the bottom there, the Golfo de Cadiz, down in the bottom there. Learn something every day, don't you, looking at maps? And you can see, obviously, the two autonomous districts of the Azores and Madeira are not in the right place. They've just squeezed them in so you get a sense of all the districts of Portugal on that map from mapsopensource.com. Thank you very much for that. By the way, Maps Open Source, to put that into perspective for people. So Santarém weather this morning. 19 degree high, 10 degree low, sunny day there, and similarly in Viseu, but much cooler at a 15 degrees. Well, not much cooler, but cooler anyway. You're beginning to feel that autumnal weather in Viseu. 15 degrees the high, 6 the low, cloudy weekend respectively. Sun reappearing though for a lovely looking week next week. Scanning the weather for next week. It's looking like that St. Martin's summer is continuing. Look at those lovely sunny days forecast for next week. So that's good. That's something great to look forward to in these strange times that we live in. And we are going to move on. Talking of strange times that we live in, I'm still trying to find out what Portugal's chances are for the World Cup. Hopefully, strong and good. I think they are. I think they're best among the contenders that are still left. But it's not by no means a pushover. So I messed up with that, didn't I? I talked about fixtures that had already happened. But I'll tell you why it's significant in just a little while. Yes, and let's have a look at those Thanksgiving. No, actually, let's hold on those. What we do is we make our way from the weather to the big global and national articles to the more local stuff. And I do want your local news, so send that to me, as some of you have been doing. Really appreciate that. Let's let each other know what's going on in our respective areas of Portugal, shall we? Okay, so we've got Operation Save Christmas, and what was this other one I was looking at? I couldn't find much. This is Feel Good Friday, and quite honestly, I couldn't find much to share with you of a feel good nature in the news. I think I've eked out what's good about the government's approach to the rising numbers of infections and concerns about winter COVID or pandemic Christmas 2021. So I'll come to that in just a moment. But honestly, I can't find anything in the Portugal news today, as in the news source of that name, that I would want to share to you. There's an article about Sintra in there. I'll just very quickly then show you pictures of Sintra, which are very easy on the eye. Who's been to Sintra? Let me know. Put your hands up in the chat. And it says Sintra returning to a great but mysterious past. Let me bring this onto the screen for you now. A must-visit place, obviously, in Portugal, among those great tourist attractions and among the obvious ones. But just briefly then, Sintra is a Portuguese city that belongs to the district of Lisbon. Currently has more than 385,000 inhabitants. Visitors to the city will enter an environment that is considered by many to be mystical. Where that and Entroncamento, of course, where they have the massive potatoes and three-legged chickens and stuff, where the fog passes through palaces and large houses. Has Owen been cooking beans again in Sintra? Sintra is also the city of legends and myths, and some believe that in the Serra de Sintra, there were Freemasonry rituals or even more obscure sects. Sects, S-E-C-T-S. Sintra is a city linked to the nobility and royalty. I mean, look at it in that picture, like Disneyland, isn't it? Quite incredible. And the royals made it so here, with several palaces that served as a residence, not only for Portuguese kings, but also housed wealthy families from, for example, England. I did not know that. Upon arriving in the city, visitors automatically enter a historic mood. I wonder what that feels like. I have to try that. Maybe we, start talking in an old way, Forsooth, we have now entered the city of Sintra. Fair is she. Despite having followed the gradual growth of urban modernity, still preserves very typical elements of 19th and 20th century architecture, which can be observed in the houses built in the city centre. So it's got everything by the sound of it. The palace combines several architectural styles from neo-Gothic to Romanticism. So they've chucked everything in there, haven't they, for your visual pleasure. And there's a view of another palace there. That's a nice gaff, isn't it? Wonder which one that is, but it's not titled. And I was actually a bit disappointed. There was only 2 pictures. And with an article about a tourism site, you want loads of pictures, don't you? And just briefly then on the gastronomy, which must always touch upon, there's a fly in here that's been in here for over a day now. So I think he's getting quite desperate, and it's obviously going to land on my forehead at some point during the transmission today. The Portugal has vast gastronomy is also known, and Sintra is no exception. Going to Sintra and not trying a travesseiro, what is that? Will make any visit incomplete. It is at Casa Periquita that the best travesseiros in Sintra are said to be. The pastry shop. Oh, pastries. Yes, don't forget the sweets and liqueurs fair at Alcobaça. I'll tell you more about that. It's happening. It's happening at the moment. Started yesterday. Anyway, back to Sintra. The pastry shop has 160 years of history and began as a bakery that sold queijadas, which you probably have had. I've not heard of travesseiro. They were the delight of those who passed by. Due to the success of the queijadas, which can still be tasted, the bakery establishment became a pastry shop. And around the 40s, the daughter of the founding couple of Casa Periquita discovered the recipe for travesseiros de Sintra in an old cookbook. Gotta love a story like that. The traditional travesseiro de Sintra is made according to a secret recipe that has been carried over for 5 generations. It is known that the pillow-shaped cake is made with puff pastry, which is then filled with egg and almond cream. And one more secret ingredient. I wonder. Nowadays, it is possible to taste travesseiros stuffed with apple or chocolate cream. Stop it, whoever wrote this article here. Who are you? Let's have a look. Let's give thanks to you. Bruno Santos, reporting there on Sintra in the Portugal news. Okay, have you been to Sintra? Let's see what you're saying in the comments this morning. Well, I think we've completed our second week of weather and news. I'm quite liking it. I wonder if you are too. Let me know. And Jack's here as well. Jack Polly. Bon dia todos. Looks showery next week in Setúbal. Okay, thank you for that weather update there. And Matty helping people out, I think, in the forum there. Comparing Sintra to Disneyland should be a crime. I'll give over Thunder. Well, as a Brit, I really enjoyed going to Disney World, I must say. Do you have a kind of shameful or uncomfortable connection to Disney as an American there, I wonder. Unpack that for me, if you will. Lunar eclipse tonight. Yeah, Mrs. M's been talking about that. Maybe we'll talk about that more on the Feel Good Portugal show, which I hope she will join me for tomorrow evening, 10 o'clock Portugal time, the Feel Good Portugal show, where we have a bit of an even more leisurely outing than we do on a Friday morning, and have a bit of a giggle and go off piste a little bit. So lunar eclipse tonight. Thank you for that, Jean. How are you? Complicated World Cup playoffs. Okay, so let's do that now. Complicated World Cup playoffs. 1 off games, not 2 legs. That doesn't really help there for somebody who doesn't understand football. 1 off games, not 2 legs, and need to get by 2 countries, not 1. Sounding complicated, difficult, and dramatic. Sintra, just amazing, says Capricorn 12. Do you like Capricorn 12? I mean, we're lovers of American culture, aren't we? Particularly the music. Did you like Disneyland? I loved it. I know it's, I understand all the criticisms as well, but I had a great time there, even as a fully grown adult, which some say they don't believe I am. Anyway, okay, so this Cristiano Ronaldo, debunking, unpacking this whole World Cup drama a little bit for you this morning. For those of you who think, oh no, he's talking about football again, boring. No, you must not say that. Football is so important, as you will discover if you're not here yet in Portugal. So it's good to know. It's good to, at least to be able to drop into a conversation. Oh, I do so hope Portugal will make it into the World Cup. So listen up. I'm helping you out here, even if you think you don't like football. It's important, or soccer. It's important that you learn a little bit about. And there he is. He's upset. Cristiano on the pitch, upset about not making it through to the World Cup in an easy way, going to playoffs. So Cristiano, this is what is this? Z News from India this morning. Cristiano Ronaldo, will Portugal play in the FIFA World Cup 2022? Check out all possible outcomes here. We won't check out all possible outcomes, but we'll find out a little bit more about the drama that is building. CR7 led Portugal, lost their opportunity. This was last week, and I reported on that, didn't I, for the World Cup in Qatar. Okay, they faced a horror defeat against Serbia in a nail-biting finish in that game on November. It was only a few days ago. It seems like ages ago, doesn't it? So we need to find out more. What's going to happen? They will, to get to Qatar, World Cup 2022 next year, they will have to face the likes of Poland, Austria, Czech Republic, Ukraine, Turkey, and North Macedonia, the last of which I think is the least of their worries. They don't have to play all of them, but they are the likely opponents for Portugal in the playoffs. And Poland are arguably the most dangerous of these 6 nations. So let's watch out for that, as a matchup with Poland could mean that in-form Bayern Munich striker Robert Lewandowski could break the dream of Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, the important thing, you see, is that it's the only trophy that Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't claimed in his footballing career, I believe. Now, Eusebio, the prof, will let me know if that's true, but that's the deal, isn't it? He is obviously, that's why he was so upset at the match last time. Oh, look at him. I just want to give him a hug, don't you? That was the problem. He thought they may well be crashing out, but there's more work to do. They could get through. They will get through. I hope they do. But it's the trophy missing from his own personal collection. To be in a World Cup winning Portuguese team would be the crowning glory, I suspect, of his achievement. So that's why, folks, it is so important. And you can nonchalantly, casually introduce that into a conversation, with somebody, and remember where you heard that first. Okay. Thank me later. Hold on a minute. November full moon is known as the Beaver Moon. I wonder why, Lonnie. Gary, you rascal, is here as well. Happy Friday. Hope you're still singing and dancing your happy song from last night. Gary, you rascal. Thank you so much for making that. Very thoughtful, very kind of you. And I can actually dance like that, but I can't show it on this show because playing Pharrell's music will get me struck off YouTube, as I'm sure you know. But feel free to put a link to it in the forum. I will face further ridicule and humiliation at your hand. With that, but thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Thanks for your contributions last night on the webinar as well. Hey, Colin is in the area. House hunting it in Foz do Aurelio today. Good luck with that, Colin. Tell everybody, why are you focusing on this area? People will want to know why you would be wanting to move from beautiful Ericeira, where we had a good insight into life there yesterday. It looks fantastic to me. And somebody said, can't believe it. You live in the Caldas area and never been to Ericeira. Why not? Well, there's so much to explore here. I'll get there. Don't you worry. But interested to know what are the charms of the Silver Coast are for Colin in particular as well. Okay. Hey, Peter. That's from Postman Pat. What? I see the bit of ribbing, bit of gentle ribbing going on. And who doesn't like a little bit of gentle ribbing going on in the comments and chat this morning? Good morning, Gumpus from Suze as well. Hello, Suze. How are you in Finland? Made it for start today. Music does sound like the start of news. I like it. Me too. It puts lead in my pencil and wind in my sails every morning as I hear the pomp of the brass instruments in there. And it always reminds me of Owen now. Bon dia. Let's go then, shall we, to Sant'Antonio in the Algarve. And your beautiful picture, Anna. Thank you so much for this. Look at this. I might have to take your comment off the screen for just a moment so that we can see it in its full glory. That's a beauty. And we should dwell on that for a moment, because look at the moon, the beaver moon, as Lonnie is telling us. The beaver moon's beautiful reflection on the water. And I will be able to show you the moon this morning, still in the sky when I took the dogs out this morning. So there you go. So from Anna, Bon dia alegria, yesterday's moon from VRSA. And amazing full moon today. Feel free to share. Villarreal de Sant'Antonio, of course, is that acronym. We won't play any of the seeded teams while I'm here in WhatsApp. Oh, and there is a Hulk Hogan Tash that I can aspire to. So I better just pop that in on the screen to see if you fancy my chances with that. Oh, yeah, we've got a bit of an apology to make as well after making a joke. I think it was you, Peter Bleach, who made a joke about Owen and Garvo's headgear that didn't go down very well. Okay, and more about the football there. So we won't play any of the seeded teams, so it's on our own hands because it should be easy. Famous last words there, going back to the football. Fire Dave, is that for the show? Oh, no, that's for later on. And yes, Rosa, good morning to you over there at Martignal. And Lonnie, enjoying correspondence with you. But look at that beautiful moon there. I wonder if I can show you my full moon now. Tee-hee. Okay, as I drove into the bay this morning, forgive me, I am now on WhatsApp camera. My camera is full of photos. So does anyone else do this? When your gallery is full up of photos, do you start using applications to take photos? Because that bypasses part of the memory, you see. So that's where I'm at, absolutely chock full of photos of Portugal and the family on the phone. So I photograph via Messenger or WhatsApp. This on WhatsApp, so the quality is not great, but still. And I think I've zoomed in a bit for your benefit. And I've got a wonky horizon. The camera really isn't as good when you shoot via WhatsApp, but better than nothing. Here we are in San Martino de Porto Bay. And thank you for that love heart from Jacqueline CDM. I think she might be loving this picture. She knows that scene. And I don't know if you see my mouse on the screen. You probably don't. But if you look over to the first quarter from the left, you will see a glow on just above the hilltop there, above that famous sand dune, which I ran up the other day. Coach Turner will be proud of me. That's the moon this morning. As I drove along the bay, I could see the moon just hanging there above the sea. And there it is, like blazing like the sun on the horizon there on the hilltop. And then as I was driving back away after Jimmy and Peggy had a nice run on the boardwalk there, can you see that over on the other side now, on the other quarter of the screen, the orangey moon just floating above the surface of the water on the horizon? Isn't that amazing? And there was not a soul around at about 7:15 this morning. I had that to myself. Absolute treat. Really very beautiful just seeing that there. So lucky people in San Martino Bay, if they were awake, to be able to see that through their windows this morning. Okay, Operation Save Christmas. Let's do that. I think this is absolutely ridiculous. This idea of governments saving Christmas or not. I mean, it tells you something, doesn't it, where we've got to as people, that we are looking for cues and signals from the government as to whether you can celebrate Christmas or not. I mean, really, we look to the supermarkets and the governments to tell us whether or not we can celebrate Christmas. Come on, grow up, everybody. If you want to celebrate Christmas, celebrate Christmas. You can still do so, observing some safety protocols, but let's not get this stupid drama of saving Christmas or not. I was going to say rant over, but I don't think I'm finished. I do not think I'm finished yet. Operation Save Christmas. I do like how the Portuguese government are going about this at the moment, though. It's a big meeting today, the Infomed meeting. We'll see the PM and his associates in this pandemic business deciding what to do in the next little while. And maybe it's a bit of a clickbait headline. Probably is, isn't it? That's how these things tend to proliferate. Portugal News and Michael Brujo reporting there. This is a couple of days ago. Operation Save Christmas. PM addresses arrival of pandemic's fifth wave. Five waves, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. This is ahead of the meeting on Friday and the numbers and the stats. But what I really like about this is the end here, which I think seems to sum up and puts in contrast with some of the other governments of the world, how the Portuguese government and people are feeling about this time of year and what we should be doing around now. Now, there's a man called Manuel Santos Rosa, an immunologist and professor at the Faculty of Medicine of Coimbra, and he told Diário de Notícias, we should have already realized that while the current vaccines are very important in reducing serious illnesses and deaths, they do not create herd immunity. What we need to tell the population is to be a little more patient and continue fighting the virus with individual protection measures. Okay, so be sensible in your own way, which I think most people have done. The key will be to strike a balance between being safe but continuing to live life as normal as possible. The economy has already suffered enough, and nobody wants it to suffer further. People have to live, yes, and nobody wants capacity to be reduced at restaurants, important Portuguese point there, and other locations. But we need to maintain social distancing measures and good ventilation. Fair enough, Senor Rosa there, the immunologist added. So there's a spirit into which I believe we are entering the meeting today. And I know the PM is very reluctant to do all these lockdown things, this craziness that we're seeing elsewhere across Europe and around the world. So well done, the Portuguese leadership on taking that balanced view. I hope that persists. What are you saying about this? What's everybody else got to say about this? More of the invasion in future on this day in Portuguese history. Thank you very much. Hola, bon dia from Jean. Departure scheduled for 17:45 today from Newark Liberty Airport. Arriving Lisbon at 6 tomorrow morning. Don't forget, grab some video as you make your descent. Cabin to crosscheck. We're just coming into Lisbon International Airport now. Please do me some video, Jean, of your descent into the airport there and the coastline, if you will. If you're allowed to, that would be great. And some pickies. Please send us pickies, Jean, and have a wonderful time. Have the time of your life over here. More talk of Biggles there, spoiler alert, etc. Okay, this day in Portuguese history, number 3, 1905, a Brasileira cafe opens in an old shirt shop. Shirt shops. Yes, because of course shirts would have been handmade with their detachable collar and cuffs back in the day, wouldn't they? And you'd maybe gone to get yourself measured for a shirt, which you would treasure. None of you flipping, what's it called? What's that shop called? Primani, where you go and buy a shirt for €3 that lasts 2 weeks. Back in the day, when men were men and women were men, you wore a shirt for probably all your life. You got measured for it as soon as you grew up, and then you wore it for the rest of your life. You just changed the collar and the cuffs. But anyway, time moves on. Shirt technology changes, and a shirt shop here turns into a Brasileira cafe to sell genuine Brazilian coffee from the state of Minas Gerais. So that is a cultural plot twist, isn't it? Very interesting. Thank you very much for that, Prof. Excellent. Sintra, just amazing. Disneyland is fake. Sintra is real. I get your gist. I get the point there. I'm with the duck. All right, everybody. It doesn't have to be either or, does it? That's the problem with all this polar thinking at the moment. You can enjoy Disneyland in one context and Sintra in another. It's not everything's a competition, fellas. We'll have to look at that, Matty. Thank you very much, Simon, for your kindness. Have a great day, good day, and see you at the Man Cave later. Man Cave tonight, of course. I'm interested to know about the services in Portugal for people in their 60s, says Abu Muhammad. Well, a kind of service for people in their 60s is coming up after 9 o'clock. Coach Turner is limbering up. He's stretching. No, he's not stretching. Don't stretch, people. We'll talk about stretching after 9. The wisdom has changed in that. But services for the over 60s will certainly be discussed after 9 o'clock. But I think you mean more generally, don't you? Could you be a bit more specific, Abu, and we'll let you know what we know. Please, not Poland. It's a family thing here. Among the toughest of the competition, right there, of course. So hopefully that won't happen. Fingers crossed for you. Jacqueline Branco's here, everybody. Good morning to you. Lovely to talk to you yesterday. Coming back to more comments and Coach Turner. Jacqueline, CDM's here with kisses for us. beijinhos for us. Laura P's here, bon dia, says it's more important to walk every day. Here we go. After watching GMP, yeah, keep up with us, mainstream media, than do for hard work at the gym when we're not young anymore. So I think a tick there for walking, and Coach Turner will certainly have something to say about boosting your walking as we're growing old disgracefully. Boa caminhada nesse maravilhoso Portugal. There you go. Back to more of your lovely comments after the theme tune, the 9 o'clock theme tune, whereupon we will welcome Coach Turner, Khadija, Rebel, Mama will be here, and Victoria popping in too, because we've been enjoying what the coach has been making us do. It's like, instead of drop and give me 5, it's like, open that bottle of red, will you, and top me up. That's how we roll at Good Morning Portugal's Growing Old Disgracefully Club. See you after this, folks. Put yourself back on the screen there. Rebel Mama and Ian are ready to join us this morning. So let's bring Coach Turner. I bet you are.
Morning.
Sorry, I brought you on while you were still fiddling with your tablet there. How's it going?
Yeah, very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I think I should set the scene. While we're all getting our ducks in a row here. Rebel Mama's here as well. Bring her in just a moment. Victoria, I think, will join us too. But let's cast everyone's mind back to where this all began. And I'm sorry, in some ways, to inflict this upon you while you might be having your breakfast. But check this out. Just 30 seconds of video. Well, what seen can't be unseen, right?
I remember.
The Hofmeister and Wham Pam characters in this piece of Growing Old Disgracefully, also known as Graywatch. Coach Turner, what were you thinking to unleash this upon the world? What was? Let's rewind right back to the beginning. How did this all begin?
To be honest, it's so long ago now. I can't remember. I think we kind of had a chat. We did a morning show, didn't we? And started talking about my other half just crouched down and walked past the back of me.
There's no need for that. There's no need for that other half. Come and say hi. We're a very friendly bunch here.
No, thinking back, because we did a morning show. We talked about fitness, didn't we? And you came back and said, well, let's see if we can't put a mini course together.
Yeah, and really it's about how, you like a glass of wine, don't you? You want to spend more time in Portugal. You want to live the good life. And it's striking that balance, isn't it? Not getting all serious and going full-on vegan, half an hour plank guy with your Lycra on. There doesn't seem to be much fun in all of that, or doing that all of the time. This is all about balance, isn't it? Whilst we're getting older and taking better care of ourselves so that we can enjoy the rest of our lives.
Indeed. It's I think, didn't I sort of capture this concept of making the rest of our lives an adventure rather than an endurance race or something like that anyway?
Yes, indeed.
Rather than having to suffer it, but enjoying it and making it a real adventure, because, hey, we've only got one shot at this.
Indeed.
And if you can do things that you enjoy doing, and walking, particularly in the countryside. I mean, where you are, walking along the coast, just what's not to love?
Well, indeed, and if I can show you that picture again, this is where I was able to take my exercises money. And many people who are retiring in Portugal and coming over, emigrating to Portugal, get this as the backdrop in which to grow old disgracefully. You know, why wouldn't you want to have a look at that in the morning? And I know both Rebel Mama and Victoria have beautiful backdrops for their growing old disgracefully efforts as well. That's where we were this morning. Let's bring them on. Let's bring on the woman we know as Rebel Mama. Victoria from the Algarve. This is the team.
Ladies.
Hello, it's lovely to be all around.
Hola, bon dia, kids.
Hola, bon dia.
This is amazing. This is really brilliant because you're known mainly by name, aren't you? And in the comments. But here you are today, actually on the screen with us. Thank you so much for being here. How's it going? Let's go to you first, Rebel Mama, in the north of Portugal. How are you today? And what's life like up there? How's your weather?
Yeah, the weather's beautiful. It's sunny. It's a bit chilly. I have this big fireplace behind me, but it doesn't work because so I'm sitting in my freezing kitchen. It's 12 degrees. For Celsius challenge, that's like 54. It's cold. Wow. But it's okay because we still have sun and it's beautiful and it's warm outside and it's great here. It's beautiful. Yeah.
And some may remember you as the person who has the horses.
Yes.
And cattle coming to the gate in the morning.
Right.
You live in that, and you also live where that close to where the new Gloria production has been made. That's on Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Apparently, they filmed it all up here. They filmed a little in Braga, which is about an hour south of us, and they filmed most of it in my village of Soaju, which is a big tourist area. And the locals love it because they're hoping that more tourists will come. Although it's like crazy here in the summer, I've heard. We moved in late summer, so we kind of missed most of the crowds, but it's okay. They need it. We're lucky up here because it's a small village, but since it's a tourist area, we have great restaurants, cafes, we have a butcher, we have everything up here. So we're really, really fortunate. So bring the tourists on up.
So yes, something's happening. Definitely. We were talking about this on the webinar last night. Something's happening Porto and northwards of there. You know, for people are getting to know about it, and the old traditional sort of retirement areas, migration areas are giving way to these central Portugal, northern Portugal, which is great news. Yeah. Thank you, Rebel Mama, which is what we like to call you. That's a great nickname. We may find out why you called that in due course. Victoria in the Algarve, good news for you in the last few days.
Yes, I had my CEF appointment on Wednesday, and I am now I have a Portuguese residency permit.
Woo! How does that feel?
It feels like I can stop holding my breath.
Yeah.
For like the first time in about a year. So now I'm starting to feel relaxed and really being able to absorb the beauty that is around me. So I'm feeling really good.
Yes, I mean that must be difficult, because I think we see your Instagram and your lovely photos for your life here, but that time waiting, what's that like? How did you manage that?
Well, you're collecting all your stuff and you're reading all the Facebook groups and everybody's experience, and they're all freaking me out. And then my experience was so unremarkable that it's remarkable. I mean, I handed them 3 things. I showed up at 9 o'clock. My appointment was at 9:30. So I like to get somewhere when the door opens. And I got in the door at 9. They took me right away, and I was out in 15 minutes.
Oh, superb. Like almost a formality then.
And I had a stack of paper like this. So,
So always take a stack of paper. That's quite good timing, isn't it? I mean, if I was a Portuguese bureaucrat and I saw somebody arriving with a pile of papers like this at 9 o'clock in the morning, I think I'm going to send them out in 15 minutes as well, right? Here's a coffee table.
The man that was, allowing the folks in, he was so nice and so sweet. And, I stumbled through some Portuguese and he switched to English because I was a bit nervous. So I wasn't being able to pull any more Portuguese than what I could muster. So he switched to English, sat me down, and he was really kind and escorted me out when I was finished. I mean, it was so easy. I hope everybody has that experience.
Yeah, well, Jean's saying, I wonder how long that would take to be able to breathe again. So you're all very useful. Yeah, I mean, don't forget, I mean, we're talking about growing old disgracefully, Graywatch here, but also, we're talking to Rebel Mama and Victoria about their parts of Portugal and also, their journey here. So feel free to ask questions of that kind as well. Can you put your straw hat on, please, Victoria? And I'm not sure. I don't understand that reference. Is that a Baywatch?
It's in my, I think that's my YouTube profile picture. I don't have that particular straw hat, but I have a different one. I have a different one. Hold on.
Okay. All right. She's taking requests. She's taking requests this morning. And well done, Victoria, from Simon as well. So back to you, Coach. I've had a great time in these last few weeks. You've been creating content for us. Oh, here we go. Here's a different story. I'm sure Eusebio will be delighted with that.
Very cool.
Thank you very much, Victoria. An amazing few weeks learning about how to grow disgracefully. Could you just give us a brief outline of what you've been telling us, teaching us, Ian, and why?
Just thinking back, I've been a coach of all sorts of age groups for about 20 years now, I guess. And gradually over time, it's like, right, when you learn anything, you build up a mental picture of and simplify it, because there's lots of different theories and practices, and so you try and work through all that, use your own knowledge to build it into some sort of sense. It struck me that people, I'll take myself and all of my friends as examples, that if you could just do a little stamina work, do a little strength work, a little speed work, and put all those together, that would be sufficient. You don't have to do a huge amount. That would be sufficient to keep you fit and healthy so that you can enjoy the rest of your life. And if you can enjoy those activities as well, then, that's the full house. So that's the basis of how I tried to put this little course together. I hope it's worked. Never done anything like that before. So if it's been useful, brilliant. My life is complete.
And let's find out, shall we? So, Rebel Mama, let's start with you. How have you found it being a guinea pig in this program?
Yeah, it's been great because I think for me, I have a long dance background. So for me, the idea of keeping in shape and keeping healthy means like extreme dance class 3 times a week or 4 times a week. But as you get older, like it's just harder to motivate yourself and to do that. Not physically do that. I mean, if you're doing it, you keep doing it, but it's the keep doing it that's the problem for me. And also moving here, obviously, as most of us know, it's very disruptive. You're selling your house or you're moving your whole life. And then you like Vic said, you're waiting for this magic, a card to say you're okay to be here now for 2 years until you have to do it again. So it kind of throws you off. And so I think what the program did for me was allow me to realize, I don't have to be that extreme to keep healthy. That was like a huge thing for me. And putting it into my daily life, like I was already doing some of that stuff. So Coach just sort of gave me sort of empowerment over, okay, I can live this way and add a little more. And it also gave me, it really kept it in my mind. In fact, I was telling my husband, we're walking the other day, and I was like, I'm going to just speed up a little bit. So it's always sort of, because I thought, that's really going to be bad. I don't have to go put on my running kit and go out and run. We're hiking. I can just huff it up the hill for 5 minutes, and that's going to be great. So those tips for me were just invaluable. And again, keeping it in my brain most every day. I think about it now. So it's and that I was more like avoid it. So that's what I've gotten.
That's tremendous. And I think maybe we need to explain that, the sudden bursts of whilst you're changing into a different place. Because I have to say that to my dogs as well. Okay, we're about to run now. I'm walking. And then I suddenly burst into a running pattern for 10 running steps, then a little bit later 20 and 40 and so on. And the dogs thought it was strange at first, but they're getting used to it. I think it's my neighbours that struggle with it, to see the weird Englishman with his 2 dogs in the neighbourhood. He's just walking along and then suddenly he breaks into a run for no reason and then catches his breath at the end of the street. So that's great how you've embodied that. And, it's gone into the myelin sheath possibly there. Coach Turner.
Well, I hope so. I think I have to be more consistent though, because we're busy. But I think eventually, yeah. I mean, that's how do you check that, Coach? I don't know how to answer.
But I think that's a big victory. Sounds like a big victory that it's embedded. It's in. You suddenly think to yourself, oh, okay, I could just mix it up now with a bit of high intensity stuff. What is that particular thing that we can share with everybody then, Ian, about suddenly upping the pace? What's the benefit of that?
It's really something that's come around the last 10 years or so. Though for athletes, interval training has always been high on the training list. And people have found, or the research has found, that if you put a lot of effort in for 20 or 30 seconds and do that 3, 4, 5 times, then that actively changes your metabolism. It speeds it up. And what appears from the research to happen is then your metabolism stays high for much longer than if you just did long, steady exercise. So it gets into fat burning, and it stresses everything in a good way, so that it builds your resilience to be able to do it again and to do it at high levels. So, it has sort of multiple benefits.
Right.
But it's based around the running technique with a funny name called fartlek, which actually is a Swedish word which means speed play.
Yeah.
So you're playing with speed. But if you think actually back to how some of the indigenous peoples cover large distances, they mix in walking with running. So they mix it and can travel awfully long ways quite quickly by, it's the old Boy Scout thing. It's walk, run. And that's how you can travel long distances without getting completely exhausted. So it's all mixed in, but high intensity interval training is the name, but I've sort of just slightly changed it. So you walk out and then for 30 seconds or so, you walk more quickly.
It's David is a fan here, I think. HIIT training, high intensity interval training gets your heart rate high and maintains a high heart rate for the whole workout. And of course, yes, for the giggly schoolboys who I know are among us, because it's called fartlek, helps them to remember it as well and gives them a giggle every time. And that's more positive embedding, I think, as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yes. So that's great. That's the high intensity interval training part that seems to be embedded there by Khadija, Rebel Mama. There is another question for you, Khadija. Can you bring down organised government, please? While you're about it,
yeah.
Okay, all right. It's just by the end of the week. I don't know if that's a smart goal or just a sort of a fairly loose request. How's this whole thing been for you in these last few weeks?
I've really enjoyed it. Like Khadija was saying, it's kind of a reminder. Even if you're not doing something organized, you can incorporate some of those things into your daily walk, or where I am, I'm so inspired by the geography and just how beautiful it is. I'll do it's all cliffs down to the beach here, so I'll do like a cliffside walk, and maybe on the downhill parts I might jog a little bit, and then I'm hoofing it up the uphill parts, and then it's climbing. There's a lot of hills going up to the end over here towards Alvor. So, and it's just inspiring, and I want to be out there, and I want to go further the next day because I want to see what's around the next corner. And then I also incorporate what Khadija and Coach Ian were talking about when you're speeding up. So if I'm walking up to Aqua Shopping Center to get my phone number or to do some pet store shopping for the cats, and I've got my shopping trolley and it's like a 2-mile hike up there, I will do like some fast walking intermittently on the way back, just so that it's not like a trudge.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
a different way, like I call it walkabout. Like I'll do a different route every time I go somewhere. If I walk to Farragudu, I'm going across the bridge. I'm walking really fast across the bridge. And then, I'm just switching it up. And if I feel like jogging a little bit and I'm dressed for it and I have to have the right shoes on, I'll do that too.
Brilliant.
So it's just a matter of incorporating it everywhere I am. And the weather is so beautiful, there's no excuse for not getting outside.
Okay, yes, yeah, that's so true, and Suze is picking up on that here. Ian, Rebel, you're being called here, and Victoria, have any of you taken inspiration from your new surroundings to grow old disgracefully in a new way from previous lives at home? And I think you nailed it there, really, didn't you, Victoria? You certainly are enjoying your surroundings, as I think you are as well, Khadija. Ian, you're not with us yet, are you, in Portugal? Where do you intend to be here in this country?
Well, I've got a month booked in Praia de Luz in February, so hopefully we're thinking about making that a party time.
We can, can't we? And we don't look at that. So let me just zoom in on Victoria's view there. Can you name your particular part, please, Victoria? Because people are going to think, yes, I could do with some of that.
I am in the city of Portimao, and the section along the beach is called Praia de Rocha. And I would take the call outside today, but there's a little bit of construction down below and there's some street noise. So I'm inside.
You mentioned the cats as well. They're also famous on the Good Morning Portugal. How is that to bring cats to Portugal? And have they settled? Complicated.
Very complicated, especially since on the flight, you can only have one pet per person. So you have to entice someone to travel with you. So in this case... So in this case, my son and his fiance traveled with me with the 2 cats, and then they were also there to help me with all of my luggage. So we got here beautifully, and they're really loving it. I've got one is tucked himself into a drawer over here.
Like they do.
They were a little crazy before we went live at 9:00, and I was wondering, what they were going to do, because the other one jumped into the China hutch, and I could hear this crash in the next room. Like, oh geez, because they're it's not a big apartment. There's enough room for them to run around, but there's a lot for them to get into as well. So, but they're enjoying it. They have lots of patches of sunshine because we face south. And they have lovely cat naps in the sun coming in the windows. So,
that's what I do. Oh, look, everybody! Who's this?
Oh, bless.
This is Dublin.
Dublin.
The door's open. She wants to go in the balcony because they sense every different change in the air current.
Yeah.
She's like,
what a beauty! What a beauty, Dublin. There you go. All right, so a few comments coming in. It's fantastic. This is interesting because we're challenging this, I think, a little bit, aren't we, with our program? Always start off with a good warm-up session. No question about that. And after training with stretches, says Simon. The thoughts about stretching have changed, Coach Turner, right?
Well, certainly since when I was young at school, and you were told to stretch before you did anything, which when you think about it is complete madness. And stretch at the end. Stretching is something. It's like any of these things. How much stretching do you do? How far do you push a stretch? If you're cold, you can't stretch at all. Generally, stretching's only done after people are fully warmed up, and preferably after they've done their session. That would be a normal athletic session. We're not really talking about that. We're talking about going out for a walk and then walking a bit quickly. So. Your walk is your warm up. Certainly, I would think, Khadija, you're used to doing lots of stretches with your dance background.
That's stretching, yeah.
But even that, I mean, how would you approach stretching?
Oh, me? Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of, for my day to day, if I'm walking, I don't do that. I don't. Even if we do a really intense hike, or even if I go running, I don't kind of do a warm down or a stretching, because I'm walking again to finish it. So I'm naturally And even in dance, like unless you're a hardcore 5-day-a-week dancer, you don't really stretch out before, like you're saying. It's part of after you warm up. And for me here, I mean, I do stretching on my own separately a couple times a week, just because I like being stretchy. I'm naturally really flexible, and I like to keep that up. So for me, it's not part of this daily routine. But like my husband, for example, anytime he cuts wood or hikes really big, he's stretching afterwards because he has to, because of his anatomy and his back problems. So I think it depends on the person, I would suppose.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, for my, because I still do, for those that don't know, I still do some sprinting, geriatric sprinting, I call it. So, but it's just what I enjoy doing. So I train for that, and my training session would start off with a warm up. So that would be sitting on a bike or doing a little jogging. And then a set of what I call isolation drills. And that's what I use for my range of movement, really, because they all involve the range of movement I'm going to use during the session. And then come to the end of the session, after I've done a variety of reps, whatever they happen to be, I probably just do a set of strides, just winding down the speed. Because again, you're repeating the movements you've been doing during the session. And I may do a little stretch if I'm feeling tight in a particular muscle set, but it won't be a severe stretch at all. But I do things like leg swings, arm swings, but they're all active. They're not a static stretch. They'll all be actively moving the joints and the muscles over a reasonable range of movement. So I do very little static stretching at all.
What's occurring to me here is that this might be a useful thing as you age and get older and get wiser, hopefully. I mean, that's debatable, isn't it? But
very.
It's what James is saying here, mindfulness and intention. Perhaps we can call that conscious movement. I mean, what we might be talking about here is listening to our bodies more. Because that's certainly something I've learned while we've been doing this work together. Is I've had a painful knee, and it's easy, isn't it, in earlier life to just think of any aches and pains as a wretched nuisance that you just want to overcome as quickly as possible. And we can cultivate a different relationship, I think, as we get older, can't we? It's like, well, what is this? What is my body telling me? Rather than how do I just get rid of this as quickly as possible? And I think that mindful approach to our bodies is quite useful. As we age, and so that we can create a loving relationship with our body rather than, because it's sad, isn't it? So many people see their bodies as a nuisance as they get older, and that can't be a good recipe for aging, I don't think.
No, I'd agree. Interesting. We always, when I'm coaching, I always have a problem with youngsters that want to push through pain. But we have a very simple rule: if it hurts, stop.
Yes.
But trying to get that over to young kids trying to push their bodies to run faster is a really difficult lesson. But that if they've got a niggle of some kind, that if they don't rest it, it's not going to get better, and they'll be actually off for a much longer period of time. Yeah. So it's a lesson we kind of learn as we get older. But I've got buddies who do this silly thing that I do, who are just as bad as they were when they were 15 and 20. Yes. They try and push through injuries, and the inevitable happens.
Just make it worse. Okay, so if it hurts, stop, and always have a safe word. Okay. I often hitch a lift with a family member, get dropped off in different locations on their journey, and walk back. Now, I know this is something you recommend as well, Coach. Park the car a little bit further back from where you want to go. Walk instead of take the bus or take a journey. These are other things. This is what's so helpful, I think, about what we've been doing here, are the integrations, things that you don't have to change your life too much for. You just have to make an adjustment to how you already live. Okay, so there's a good one from Porky Feet there.
Yeah, it's exactly. I was reminded when I used to do meetings in the middle of London, and I'd get off the tube a couple of stops before I needed to, just to give me a chance to go for a walk, because I knew I wasn't going to have an opportunity to do any exercise at all that day. So, and the opposite when whatever meeting was finished. And it really doesn't add much time to your day, but it gives you the opportunity to walk and explore and find different bits of, a fascinating city wherever you are.
There's that as well. Victoria, you've been doing that, haven't you? You've been exercising whilst exploring. We've seen that.
Yes, I love it. I gave up my car before I moved here. My mode of transportation, it's my feet. I did bring my bicycle, which needs to be reassembled. So that's my next project. And that will enable me to do, lower impact activity. There's a little more strength and stamina involved in riding my bike, and I'll be able to explore even further. So that's next on my to-do list, is get my bike put together so I can go further.
That's a great cue for us, actually. So strength and stamina, building that, because we take that for granted when we're younger, don't we? And I think you've certainly impressed that upon me, Ian, is this idea of building strength and stamina. Pretty useful. What sorts of exercises? So cycling might be good for that. What else can be woven into a routine? Paula's talking about swimming. Would you recommend that?
Swimming's fantastic exercise. Not my thing personally. I've done a lot of swimming over the years, but I don't much enjoy it. I get bored with it, really. But it is fantastic all body exercise. The one caveat, and indeed you apply that to cycling as well, is it's important to do body weight work. So actually putting weight on your feet, weight on your skeleton, because of course you've got no stress on your skeleton when you're swimming, because and that's purely an osteoporosis thing, to stave off that horrible disease, I suppose you call it, the disease of the skeleton. You need to stress the skeleton itself. So walking every day, running, anything where you're weight bearing, you're putting weight on your feet, is positive to stave off osteoporosis. So that's the only caveat I'd put against swimming and cycling, rowing, any of those exercises, which are all good, but they don't actually, they're not weight bearing. So you need to build them in as part of the mix of exercise that you do, rather than just making it that.
Okay, mixing it up, integration again. This is funny because they haven't got the swimming pool yet, but Paula does exercise by walking around the rope outline that's there, positioning it. And she also has, they too, congratulations, the room. You've just got your residency cards. D7 paperwork seem to have sorted the CEF interview, only wanted proof of residency, NIF passport, so our wedge of paperwork not needed either. But don't forget, folks, take it anyway, just in case it's needed. But it's sounding so favourable for so many people, which isn't that wonderful news for us all. If it hurts, stop. That means that I never get out of bed then. What do you do for somebody like Terence with these aches and pains? What's the gentle start that will get him leaping out of bed ultimately, do you think, Ian? It's
got to be just starting with walking. That's I mean, I don't know where Terence resides, but
in bed by the sound of it.
But find somewhere nice to walk, just through the woods, find some nice countryside.
Yes,
it's uplifting in more than just the physical way.
Yeah, come on, Terence, we're with you all the way on this. Yes, if it hurts, stop. We can apply that approach in many aspects. That's a good thought, isn't it? Because I think that's another aging thing, isn't it? Is you think, actually, there are all sorts of things that hurt or are difficult in my life. I just don't need to do them anymore. Stop. Things we don't want to put up with. With abbreviations, we use thought growing old disgracefully becomes God. Absolutely. That hasn't gone unnoticed here. There's the coach taking the credit for that. Very much agree with Ian. I was an England amateur boxing coach for many years. Hey, now that's great exercise. I was part of a boxing club, and I know it has certain associations that people find difficult. Actually, you're not into the boxing, Victoria?
No, I years ago I was trying a kickboxing class, my daughter and I,
All
and
right.
that very first class I dislocated my thumb, and
Did you?
that was it for me. There were
That
so
made
many
you
other
stop.
things.
Yeah, but what happened? I mean, did you have a particularly aggressive opponent that you responded?
I was punching a bag.
Oh, dear, okay.
Yeah.
So not even done in anger.
No, I was
Right.
finished. Like
Okay.
they popped it back in, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Next.
Okay, Rebel Mama, same for you. You didn't seem to like the idea of the boxing.
I
Too
don't
brutal.
want to hit things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, my daughter, though, she loves kickboxing, but she grew up with 2 older brothers, so
Yeah.
it's
Sounds
easy for
necessary.
her.
It was really for I think it's great. I mean, the amount of energy and stamina and strength and agility you need to stand up in front of someone who wants to hit you for 2 minutes is extraordinary. It's absolutely exhausting, even with all the, and you should wear all the protective gear. And it's possibly a bit of a blokey thing, but I absolutely loved it. And that's where I first found out about the fartlek thing. This is the thing now. Look, totally feeling the no car exercise program.
Yeah.
There's a book in this, isn't there? It includes the public transportation integration adventure program as well. So he allows 3 hours for every half-hour journey there,
Yeah.
and walking will be involved in that once you've gone the wrong way on the bus, etc. So that's a very good,
Yeah.
a very good program. Write that book, James. Kate's here as well. Good morning to you, Kate. Coach, what would you recommend for keeping our upper body strong and healthy? Okay, so sedentary times. We're all sat down here, aren't we, on the telly, in front of computers, all that sort of stuff. Need to do something for the upper half. What do you recommend, Coach?
Well, we've got the strength module as part of our little course.
Yeah.
So simple exercises, the press ups in various forms, starting standing up, leaning against the wall, pressing on the wall. Tricep curls, similar. You do them on the worktop. That sounds bad, doesn't it? Anyway,
Yeah, it sounds like that should be part of the program too. We'll come on to that.
Yeah, that would get us some free clicks.
I think it'll get us unnecessary attention, but so the standing press up, which sounds no better, really, does it? But
No.
the standing press ups, you don't need to go to you don't need to be too much of a gym bunny, do you? You can do these things quite easily and add value without being too strenuous.
Yeah, totally. Any exercise. I mean, there's enough guidance for what different exercises you can do, but you can start off in a very gentle way, build up. And my suggestion is, if you do 3 sets of 10 of that exercise and can manage that, then you can move on to making it slightly more difficult. So if you're doing just press ups, go to a lower height surface. Do your press ups on there, and gradually you'll build your strength to be able to do them, traditionally on the floor. And I mean, even then, you can then make them more difficult. You can put your feet on a step or something, and that makes it more difficult to gain. So every one of those types of exercises you can progress on. So 3 sets of 10. Once you manage them relatively easily, move on to making it slightly more difficult.
Superb. Okay, and then a few claps in there as well. Surprised. This is an interesting point from Suze over in Finland. Surprised that this is all about exercise. Important, but growing old disgracefully sent me down a different path entirely. I'll take inspiration where I can. Now, it is an important point. I mean, this is about exercise. Ian is a coach, an athletics coach. So this component of growing old disgracefully is definitely about the physical. But we're not averse to talking about the mental and spiritual aspects of growing old disgracefully at all, are we, team?
Definitely.
No.
Listen, it's an important part of things. I mean, and I see a Chemical Brothers hoodie there is a bit of a clue.
Yeah, it's a hoodie. Yeah.
There's some growing old disgracefully right there. Dancing, the mindfulness.
Music.
Would you care to add anything to that? It's not just physical, is it? This is a mental preparation we're talking about and a spiritual preparation, right? And Susie's absolutely right.
I think for me, I'm thinking also in the context of moving to a country where there's a different language. I read so much from expats, English-speaking expats that are having difficulty, and it is hard. And it's hard to meet people here, but I got to tell you, I mean, what we're doing, and we're not succeeding amazingly yet. We've only been in the country 7 months, but in our new village where we've been for 2 months, we get out at least 2 or 3 times a week. We make a point of going into our village center, even if it's to buy nails at the hardware store, anything to get in there and practice our Portuguese. And the people now, actually, I was in the cafe getting my coffee, and the barista speaks a little English, but I can speak enough now to. But, you know, a lady came over and started talking to me in broken English. So I think we're exercising our brains as well. I mean, and that, growing old disgracefully, that to me is huge, because we all know what might happen. So that we are lucky here that we have a built-in way to do that, you know.
Well said. Well
so
said.
that's a huge thing I think we can take advantage of here in Portugal.
It's an interesting thing. There was a program on, must have been a year ago, that was looking at different ways of learning languages and the effect it has on your brain. And it exactly does make your brain work harder. And so they actually measured the activity in the brain before this sort of process of about 6 weeks of language learning and afterwards. And the difference was marked, was remarkable, actually. So, and they were testing different types of learning, online learning and actual learning with a teacher, which turned out unsurprisingly to be slightly better, but you know, whatever floats your boat, I guess. But the difference in the brain's acuity was remarkable. So language learning is really good. And of course, you know, if you're anything like me, I retired progressively, I suppose, over the last 3 years or so. And you kind of stop doing stuff, you know, stop doing mental stuff, because you know I ran my own business, so you know there's the stress involved and the day-to-day decision making and all of that was quite considerable. But you stop doing that almost, not overnight, but almost overnight. So to bring in some other activity that keeps your brain really working hard is fantastic. Whether 15 minutes a day is enough, I don't know for that part of it. I try to do a little bit more than that, but it, you know, I've noticed how it's helped me become sharper actually over the last several months.
Yeah, I think it's so important. This mental fitness as well, and learning language, chucking yourself into the culture. If you come to Portugal with 2 Shackleton chairs and a telly, and you sit indoors and you complain about how hard the language is to learn, and you never go out, that will be a recipe for loneliness and decrepitude. Is that the right word? I think we've got to get out there, make the most of this opportunity. And I know you do, Victoria. What are your experiences like that? You're immersing yourself, aren't you, in the new culture?
I am. You know, I've spent 30 years in corporate, and like Ian was talking about, you just have decision overload, and it's a lot of decisions that aren't about you. It's about what you're doing for your company. And now that I don't have that anymore, it's kind of like a weight is lifted. I'm able to exercise on more of a, routine schedule that I want, so I can do it early in the morning. Or I can do it all day long, really. And I get my mental clarity with the exercise. It's got my blood moving. I got a clean brain after that. I make better decisions, and it's all about me now. And I can have that mental focus to learn the language, and, just like the bravery and the courage to go out there. I'm here by myself. So, for me to psych myself up, exercise helps a lot. To get me out there. And I meet people when I'm walking back and forth. We have an expat meeting every Tuesday at the bar that's like right in front of me. So there are places that I can go that, I know people already. They know me in the different shops around here. And learning Portuguese is becoming more and more natural. I mean, this is my favorite little, it's just a dictionary, but I'm a visual person. So what I love about this book is that it's got illustrations. So if I'm just sitting here for a few minutes, or I'm having a cocktail on the balcony, I might use this. Yeah. So and it's fun to get together with all the expats, and you kind of have that support. But it's also fun to, get out there and meet new people. And, next week I'm going to finally start to really explore some more. I'm going to Lagos for a Thanksgiving celebration. And I need to take the train for the first time. And, I'm going to meet new people over there. I'm going to see a new city. So I will be making my way to the train station and hoping to be able to read the timetable correctly so that I can get on a train and get there in time. So it's just, it's like one, jumping through one mental hoop after the other all day long. So you never know if you're going to encounter somebody that speaks your language, or if they look at you and they go, oh, she's not Portuguese, and they immediately speak English to you. I mean, there's just so much going on all day long to help with the mental acuity, and the immersion in the life here is just wonderful. I mean, as soon as we're done the show, I'm out the door. The beach is calling my name, and I got to get that exercise in because there's going to be a lot of food this week.
Okay, fantastic balance. It's all about the holistic approach and the balance there. So let's look at our last as we work our way towards 10 o'clock. Let's look at the last few comments here that are coming in. This is great to know. In Portugal, most villages have Keep Fit Zumba. And they have something I noticed called Boom Boom Brazil as well, which I find quite interesting. Also, a great way to meet the local. I don't know what Boom Boom Brazil is, but obviously it's a butt workout, is it, basically? Yeah. Okay.
Boom boom.
Right. It's what it describes.
All right. I'll stick to the Zumba then in that case. For some more advice for Terence. They shoot horses. No, come on, Terence. Let's just get you out of bed in the morning. Give him a cup of tea. Give him a touch de mister and get him moving. I would like to be able to lift something more than a cup of coffee as I age. There's your benchmark. Yes, water. Keep drinking that water as well as the wine and the coffee, James.
And you can lift it.
Yeah, I think when you took on that bag there, Victoria, the bag one in that instance, I'd with your kickboxing, I'd rather ride them their eco-friendly all-terrain 4x4s, our horsey friend. So yes, horse riding. I'm sure that's very good for fitness as well, because you need a lot of core strength, don't you, to keep your wits about you. And the skipping, yes, with the boxing classes, skipping's great exercise, isn't it? Good morning, Cairo. Look at that food. Now, that's a healthy plate that we'd all enjoy eating there, I think. Look at those chickpeas and lentils and all sorts going on there. Jim White, late Bon dia todos. Hey, Jim, how are you? There is a walking group on Facebook held by a lady who works in Câmara Municipal de Albufeira every Monday. There are a lot of walking meetings that begin outside town halls. Find out where your one is. That'll give you a chance to learn the language as well. So every Monday and Thursday night at 8 o'clock, free. Contact her and ask, is that Albufeira that you're sending that from? Forgive me, Laura P. So simply lifting my coffee above my head isn't quite sufficient. Depends on the size of the cup. There you go. And yes, kickboxing, a fan here in the form of our mate Nuno from Windsurance, just discovered kickboxing is a very complete body exercise. What he means by that is it's completely knackering, I suspect. But the 10 burpees every morning I'm currently doing, including a floor press and a jump, should be helpful there. Well done, James.
Yeah, absolutely.
Inspiration to us. I'd expect it as a testosterone man sport, but it's not. A stereotype challenge there for Nuno. I have friends who move apartments. They live in Lagos. I know it's very difficult to find an apartment that accepts animals. T2, they pay 750 euros. I thank you for that, Laura. Mind and body. That's what we're talking about here, isn't it? And thank you for Suze for that prompt. Gracefully surrender the things of youth and nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. That's what he lies in bed thinking about. Nuno, I used to do kickboxing, but quite a rigid form. I prefer Tai Chi. So going with that flow, you recommend the Tai Chi, the yoga, and the Pilates, Coach?
Definitely. They're all fantastic. As part of the mix, not just in isolation.
Okay, part of a mix. Very good. Learning new languages does help our brain and can ward off the old-timers there. Abel, morning all. Question for Ian. What's the best exercise to get rid of a beer belly? Asking for a friend.
That's getting out. That's getting out. Just getting out walking.
Yeah, get out and walk.
every
Walk
day.
walk to the pub. Yeah, maybe. James, I looked to see if I could buy that in the UK and couldn't find it. I wonder what that is. Yes, learning new languages, challenging skills, musical instruments, anything. Yeah, that's good. A musical instrument and a heavy one as well. If you can learn the tuba or something, or a double, or a bass, a great big double bass, that'll give you a bit of fitness as well. There, I agree that language learning is excellent brain training. This is good. And it's added value from learning the Portuguese here. What is the name of that visual book, please? Iris is asking. Victoria, what you got there?
Diccionario Básico.
Diccionario Básico. There you go. Fantastic.
I got it in the bookstore in Aqua Portimao.
Okay, great. Should be available at your local bookstore. Bon dia, Victoria. Happy to see you on Good Morning Portugal. As to the train timetables, check CP's website. They have an English option, should you wish it. Learned boxing at school and wrestling, and taekwondo, kickboxing, Muay Thai. That's a cocktail, isn't it? I learned Muay Thai, and then Goju Ryu to do my own mixed style now and then. No. Wow. He's a good bloke to go out with. So you're so going to love Lagos. Make sure you check out some beaches. Meia Praia, largest natural bay there. Tip coming in from Capricorn 12.
Thank you.
Language video advice. Study and learn the Portuguese accent first to get a kickstart on learning the language. Thanks, Suze, for that. Join a marching band while learning tuba. Final thoughts. I think we're going to have our Algarve get together, aren't we, next year? We might make that video with all of us in it. Final thoughts from the coach. We're going to be here every third Friday of the month with some practical tips. We're just setting the scene this week. A final thought from you as we go into the weekend, a gentle start for people. Obviously, get out there and walk, right?
Get out there and walk. Find a nice place to walk. And that doesn't necessarily have to be countryside. There's all sorts of interesting places in towns and cities.
Yeah.
Explore the little alleyways. That's always fun.
Okay. Coach Turner, thank you so much. You're such an inspiration. I mean, if I may say how old you are, me and the missus, when we're editing the videos, look at you and think there is a man in his 30s or 40s, with your flexibility.
I'll buy you that drink when you're drinking again.
I'm not angling for a drink. It's quite incredible. You are an inspiration when we see you in action. And you're 64 years of age.
64.
Yeah.
1957. It's a good year, Khadija, wasn't it?
Yeah, 64. Sí.
Khadija, thank you so much. Anything you want to say about moving to Portugal, the north of Portugal, or anything further?
No. No, it's beautiful up here, but I understand lots of people want the warmer climates. So, but it's easy to travel back and forth. The train system here is great and it's inexpensive. And I would just recommend, Victoria, if you take the train, pay the extra 10 euros for first class because it's really worth it. It's great.
It's only about a 10-minute trip, isn't it?
No, 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. If you're doing the long,
when I go north,
hours,
when I go north, I will.
Okay.
Rebel Mama, we'll be back to you as well because we're going to probably be starting a dance class or having a rave sometime soon, and I think you'll be involved in that. Victoria, I think we'll be interested in that too. A last word for you as well, Victoria. How's life in the Algarve? What would you say to people about that part of the world?
Life in the Algarve is wonderful. It's laid back. It's beautiful. The weather is great. Barefoot on the beach all day long. Lots of nice people, and come down, grow old gracefully with me. I want to say thank you to Coach Turner for allowing me to participate in your beta version. It's been awesome, and then let's all have a glass of wine at some point.
Yes. That's the sort of coach you want, isn't it? Okay, folks, thank you so much for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. See you all soon, one way or another.
Ciao.
Ciao for now.
There they go. Fantastic. The growing old disgracefully squad, or the God Squad, you might say. There they go, off to walk to their various next engagements. I suspect maybe Coach Turner's jumping straight in his car now. No, not really. It's down the off license in his car. So let's look at a final few things that we didn't cover, and your comments, of course, and some pickies that have been coming in. Thank you to Suze, because you made that point, didn't you, about the about growing old disgracefully in its broader forms, you know, the spiritual and mental aspects. We will cover all of that. Of course we will. You know, that is our demographic. You know, that's why we're doing the growing old disgracefully thing. And you've shared some lovely things here. They were chopping down a tree outside your house. You're into the arts and crafts and you're making beautiful things here. Let's share with you some lovely tree art there. You're going to work with cork when you get to Portugal. You're working with silver birch, obviously, up there in Scandinavia at the moment. And some lovely things you've made. They're beautiful. Christmas decorations. That's lovely. Thank you very much, Suze, for sending them in. Don't forget, folks, you've got the Doces e Licores, the Sweets and Liqueurs Festival, basically. A slightly scaled back one for obvious reasons, but taking place all over Silver Coast, Alcobaça, Alfazarão, Aljubarrota, site for the famous historical battle, Benedita, Pataias and Turquel. Great things to do between the 18th and the 21st. That's already kicked off. That is the Alcobaça Sweet Festival, really, and not forgetting the liqueurs. I did mention, didn't I, Thanksgiving suppers. And we have one here. Great to talk to Chitra Stern last night of Martignal, the creator, with her husband. What's he called? Mr. Stern. Roman Stern. They at Martignal, they've got the international school in Lisbon as well, and the Martignal residences that they're working on. It will be coming in online in the new year. But the Martignal, what are they called? Resorts date back 10 years now, and remarkable, lovely family atmosphere. Great place to go if you've got kids. Great place to go if you haven't got kids. Look, if you want to go somewhere for Thanksgiving dinner on the 25th of November. And a Thanksgiving brunch on the 28th of November. And so more details if you go to or drop an email to concierge.cascais@martignal.com. I'm sure if you go to martignal.com, martinhal.com, you'll get further details of all they do. Have a little break, have a stay there whilst having one of those dinners. We've got a perk. We've actually got a perk from Martignal Resorts, 10% off, I believe. Check that. Don't take that... I double check that, but we definitely have got a discount arrangement with them in our perks and freebies area of our website, expatsportugal.com. Let's see what else has been coming in this last little while we've been talking to the God's God there. Comments from you and pictures from you as well via WhatsApp 913-590-303. We have some lovely pics from the prof of that first Brasileira cafe. That was in Lisbon, wasn't it? In an old shirt shop. These pictures are absolutely fantastic. I would love a coffee, Mrs. M, please. Yes, you can have my Good Morning Portugal cup available in our merch right now. She didn't do that on purpose. So yes, let's have a look at this lovely cafe. Early 1900s. Look at that interior, folks. And you know what? You can go in there and have a coffee, I'm sure, for still around €1 or so in those plush surroundings in Lisbon. They do not take advantage of these situations. Everyday folk go in there and have been doing for over 100 years, and you can get in there with the locals and have a fantastic coffee. There's an exterior shot, the Brasileira Cafe. Is that on the Avenue de República? I'm not sure, but 122 and 120, Brasileira coffee shop. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Superb. What else have you been sending in to me this morning? I think we have another Thanksgiving dinner, don't we? Excuse me, I need to cough. Hold on. Stand by. I'll spare you. Oh, busy week and a busy night last night. There we go. Jacqueline Branco has been sending in details of an event in the Silver Coast as well. The Fika Coffee Morning on the 24th of November, so not far from now, in support of Portugal. Fika is a Swedish coffee, cake and snacks morning break. Where's that taking place there? Welcome to our fundraising coffee morning arranged by Jacqueline Branco for Portugal at Rua Henriques Salles 36. So that's Caldas de Rainha there. Caldas de Rainha, that Portugal event there on the 24th from 10 a.m. in the morning till 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm sure I had another Thanksgiving date to share with you. We've got this that came in. I think I'm working my way towards this. What with the Growing Old Disgracefully program and the Tash, that's going to be me in a couple of months' time. Let's see what else has been coming in via WhatsApp 913-590-303. Thank you, Francis, for that. Oh, I know. This is what we've got. we have at the Caravelas. Now, I need to tell you as well, on the 1st of November, no, the 1st of November has gone, Carl, 1st of December. We remember seeing Simon here, not content to open one bar in pandemic times, but now two. His first bar, Rex, the Rex bar in Óbidos, and now a second in Foz do Aurélio. On Thanksgiving, he'll be having, I don't know the date for this. You're going to have to look it up on Facebook, Caravelas Cafe, Foz do Aurélio. But we'll be there on the 1st of December, Wednesday evening, for a bit of an Expats Portugal. Well, it's a soft launch of our bigger gatherings, which will hopefully take place over weekends in various parts of the country. But this is the first, just an evening soiree, Caravelas Cafe, Thanksgiving dinner they've got there, butternut squash, stuffed turkey breast or stuffed pork loin, roast sweet potato, garlic mashed potatoes, maple glazed Brussels sprouts, yum, green bean casserole, apple walnut stuffing, homemade gravy, my mouth is watering, cranberry sauce, and biscuits with a QU. You know, you're onto something a little bit different when they spell biscuits with a QU there. And that you can take that away as well if you just want to do that. Para levar for your Thanksgiving dinner. I think we had something else from Caravelas as well. But yeah, 1st of December, we'll be there for a little bit of an evening out, a bit of fun. Is this their other thing, or is this somebody else's Thanksgiving offering? Let's bring this onto the screen. Oh, that's Martin Yell again. That's Martin Yell's one. That's their Thanksgiving dinner on the 25th of November and a Thanksgiving brunch on the 28th of November. I think that's it for now, apart from your comments. If there's anything we've missed, we'll do it tomorrow on the Feel Good Portugal show with me and Mrs. M. Victoria, work in the comments before she goes out barefoot in the sand. Antonio off telling us that okay, thanks for this. The A Brasileira is located on Rua Garrett, 120 to 122 Lisbon. It's in the Chiado district. Looks absolutely super for a bit of an Insta Babes photo there. Chiado, thank you very much, Prof, for that as well. 120 Rua Garrett. I want a GMP mug. It would boost my coffee drinking experience as I tune into the show. Go to the merch on the website. You can get yourself one of those. Thanks, Victoria, from Michelle. So happy your lovely cat's made the journey so well. Lovely to see you looking happy and contented, Victoria. So fun, says Rebel Mama. Big beijinhos to all. Thank you so much, both Rebel Mama and Michelle. And, of course, the Coach Turner for being there. James Holly being with us this morning. Another recommendation for reducing a beer belly. Perhaps reduce beer consumption. What? How dare you, sir, be so rude to our viewers and listeners like that? Bjarnaris, Helena Mitchell, thanks from Iceland. Can't wait to get there to start walking in better conditions and weather and keeping fit. Yes, with your walking, never take off that jaunty hat. Eusebio is saying to Victoria. Thanks all. Nice to see you. I love exploring. It's always been too hot when we visited, but soon to be in Portugal full time. Beverly, all the best with your preparations and your trip over. The first time we went to Lagos, we never had a car. We walked everywhere with two young kids. Best way to fall in love with somewhere new. Largest, I think, is Lagos there. Have we got a Fajo de Dia today? Capricorn 12. How did everything go for you and the family yesterday? That sounded lovely. And more recommendations coming in from Capricorn 12 for Victoria there. Giant slug wrestling, and just demonstrated by the lady in the factory photo, obviously good for upper body strength. And I hadn't thought of that, but yes, just in case you're wondering what on earth he's talking about, one of our panelists for the Movember special next Thursday, along with Francis, Stephen, Andy, James, Gary will be here to talk about this. Oh, there's Andy with his tash. That's coming along nicely. Just dropping his mask to show that off to the world. Slug wrestling. This should be an Olympic sport, shouldn't it? Some of that. Never did that lady any harm, did it? Nice one, Gary. What else have we got here? In Portugal, it's growing the number of seniors. Old people's universities, it's a way to gather old people, teach them new things and give them new goals. And actually, they should be on the faculty. Old folks got a lot to teach the young people too, haven't they? Yes, more talk, of course, in there about learning a language. You know, it makes sense, everybody, for so many reasons. Let's get those 15 minutes under our belt every day, maybe more. Did you see what the coach said there? He's trying to build it up, isn't he? Maybe we go to 30 soon, I wonder. Okay, if we'll talk to Mia next Friday, actually, and we'll see if she thinks we should boost it. And I'm sure Philomena will be saying, Maish. That's a clever move, Gary. No, new people, new things boost the brain. What's he talking about? Oh, okay. I am part of the Old Folks University in Alvazra. You're a spring chicken in there, I suspect, Gary. Try to learn about Portugal and the language. What a lovely thing to do. Tell us more. maybe on Thursday. Thank you kindly. Bon fin semana from Francis, who's joining us, of course, on Thursday. Thank you, folks. Really nice this morning, I thought. It's lovely to see you, Rebel Mama Victoria, talking to colleague in the God Squad there. Folks, have a beautiful weekend. Bon fin semana, as Francis is saying. I think I read that the Uni of Porto offer free auditing of some subjects for oldies. I think that's probably, yeah, is that a typo? But we get the gist there, Michelle. Uni of Porto offering free subjects for old folks. Quite right too, right? The universities, Senor, are fantastic. That's great to know, Pamela, some experience there over at Alcobaça way. And thank you, guys and girls. Have a great weekend. All the best from Little Britain there. You've been amazing, everybody. What a great week we've had. Have a lovely weekend. Maybe see you tomorrow night on the Feel Good Show with me and Mrs. M. I wish you well. Go well, folks. And well, where's my video to go out with? Yeah, have a great weekend. Bon fin semana. Ciao, ciao. Hasta luego. Ati prossima. Fortunately, there are so many ways of saying goodbye. It gives me time whilst I'm trying to find the video. Yeah. Ciao, ciao. Ciao for now.